Happy Saturday from here in the UK. So whatever you have been doing before this moment, please take a moment to get present with me before we start on our day 4 of Yang Woman. So let's close our eyes, wherever you happen to be, outdoors, indoors, even in bed perhaps, who knows. Closing the eyes and take a moment just to be grounded in this present moment. And taking 2 or 3 nice big deep breaths. Oh, that's better. So we're talking about Yang Woman, and if you have yet to identify with her, then maybe you want to go over to my website, ginahardyyoga.com, and have a look and see whether you feel that you identify with this strong woman that has created a whole life for herself, but now maybe is moving into a phase where change is happening. And there might be a little bit of a crash coming physically, energetically, whatever that might mean for you. But it's definitely a cusp of life feeling. And like I said yesterday, there is nothing wrong with being yang. I think we're always a mixture of yang and yin, depending on what's happening in every hour of the day and what's happening at stages of our lives. But I noticed the way women of this age, over 40, 50, going into 60, starting to look at how we can move into a softer phase of life and become more receptive rather than more driven. So we've talked about the hectic lifestyle that we create, and that goes for everybody in the whole wide world really, but more so with women who literally run other people's lives and their lives, other people's lives, whoever's lives you happen to be running. And then we talked about the significant life changes that happen over the age of 40 perhaps and up to the age of 60. And today I want to talk to you about the most precious gift that we all have, and I would say beyond how much we think we love our families and our friends, etc. It is this thing here that sits below the mind called the body, and for me it is the most precious gift, certainly in my life, that anything that could possibly be. And yet Yang women live up here, and that goes for a lot of people too, but particularly Yang women. We live up here and we're very driven creatures, and we compromise often what's happening from the neck downwards. So there's that sense of, I'll just need to do this, and I just need to do that, and I just need to fulfill that schedule and do this and do the other. And then suddenly we find ourselves completely exhausted. So running on empty is a very common feeling of a Yang woman. We are constantly trying to maybe keep up with the schedule, and the body is dragging like a piece of meat somewhere behind, and we are really widening and starting to widen the gap between how we run our lives and what's happening in the body, and we tend to compromise that. It's very common for everybody, but women in particular. And when we reach that certain age, we really want to start kicking back, but we don't know how to. And the listening to the body is one of the most important things that I could ever offer you, is to start to listen. If you're not listening, start to listen, and if you are listening, deepen that listening. In my 20s, I had quite a profound experience when I was on holiday in Portugal, and I took some tablets and it wrecked my system, and I thought they were over-the-counter tablets, but they weren't. They really upset my whole equilibrium, and I would say for a 48 hour period I honestly thought I was going to die. And that connected me to my body more than any other experience I've ever had in my whole life, because if you think you're going to lose this precious vehicle in any minute, oh boy, there is no other way of getting you to really tune in. So from that stage in my life, I have always had a mind that my body is the most important thing, and I have said no to certain things in the schedule. If I look at my week and I think, God, there's too much in it, I will cut things out because I really need to conserve my energy. And way more so, beyond the age of 40, you start to come into that stage where the body turns into perimenopause, and then the menopause process happens for all of us at different stages of our lives, and you really have to listen. But if you're really stuck in your head, you're really running your life in the most orchestrating way, and you're not really listening to the body, then the problems start. That's for me anyway, and certainly looking at other people. And as you widen the gap between what your mind thinks you can do and what your body thinks you can do, then between that gap, that's where the problems start to happen. So listening to the body, feeding the body, doing all those things. There's so much information on TV, online nowadays about how you can take care of yourself. So this is not a lesson in how to take care of you. It's about listening. And there's nothing more tuning than illness to make you listen. But please don't get ill before you listen to your body. Unfortunately, I do have people in my world at the moment who are sick, and I see it often. And yet we still are driven to do the things that we want to do. So for young women, we need to conserve our energy. We need to kick back a little bit. So next week I'll show you and some videos on how we can get into a bit more of a yin phase and start to open up the gap, or narrow the gap by listening to the body. But before I go, I just wanted to share with you this lovely poem. So I need to put my glasses on because I've got to that stage now. It's a beautiful poem called The Precious Human Body. And yes, thank you, Stephanie, we do all know what to do, and we still don't listen. That's so true. I can't make you listen. I've had a bad experience in my life where I needed to listen, and that's what's trained me for the future. But it's so critical to listen to the body, and obviously doing yoga, it helps you, etc. But if you can do anything today, maybe just listen to the feedback that your body is giving you. So, the poem. The human body at peace with itself is more precious than the rarest gem. Cherish your body, it is yours this one time only. The human form is one with difficulty, but it is easy to lose. All worldly things are brief, like the lightning in the sky. This life you must know as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears even as it comes into being. Therefore recall your inspiration and aspiration, and resolve to make use of every day and night. Good to be with you again, and tomorrow we'll be talking about some of the things, the challenges that we're feeling inside. So we've set up the practical aspects of having a busy life, experiencing all of these life changes beyond the age of 40, and also this aspect of the precious human body, the listening. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about how we feel in this stage of our life as young women, crying out for a little bit more yin. I wish you the most beautiful day, and I love you. Namaste.